What's good, YouTube? It's Kareem back again with another video. Alright, so why you have zero friends, don't fit in, and why that's okay, right? I'm sure you've seen this topic talked about in a lot of different forms, but I have a different perspective when it comes to this topic, right? Generally, when you have zero friends in certain social settings, environments such as your job, or even in familial settings with your family, and even with people that may have been your friends, right? But as time goes on, it seems like you're not their friend. If you're not necessarily invited a lot to where the crowd's going, or where people are going in general, right? And you don't feel included wherever you're at environmentally, at your job, around people that you claim are your family, you claim are your friends, or they claim that you're a part of them, but they don't treat you like a part of them. If you ever find yourself in a situation, it's simply because of the fact that you're really not supposed to be there. And especially if they were former friends, right? Because like I said in another video, friends, once you move past their level, if they begin to see you as a threat and they don't include you, it's simply because of the fact that they've seen that you've ascended, you've transformed, you've grown. Friends, family, it could be a lover, right? Or people that could possibly be lovers, right? If people try to bring you down, it's simply because of the fact that they're already beneath you. A lot of people, when they see you growing, when they see you transforming, becoming more like the highest version of yourself, like the greatest version of yourself, and you're growing past them, instead of people being inspired, they simply begin to envy you and they want to bring you down because they're jealous that they can't put in that same work for themselves, or they feel a lack in some area, and the only way to make themselves feel better in that area in which they're not focusing on themselves or not growing themselves, is to exclude you or try to bring you down, right? And this has happened to me plenty of times in my life. Actually, personally, I've never cared about fitting in, and in a lot of circles, people have seen that as a slight or a challenge to them, right? But I've always done what was best for me and been myself. And when you do take that path, right, that path of self, right, initially there might seem like there's resilience. You might find yourself in places, if you're being fully authentic to yourself, right, so let's say you begin to do this in areas and places that you know you're not supposed to be in, that you've come to the conclusion that you're not supposed to be in, that God or your higher self has given you the conclusion that you're not supposed to be in these places, right? Let's say you do follow the path of your purpose of being authentic to yourself. Now you have to comb through all of the resilience that was blocking you initially, simply because you were there. And so this is where a lot of people, they might find themselves being let go from their jobs. They might find themselves having issues with their friends, having issues with their former lovers, having issues with their family, and being treated like an outcast, being excluded. A lot of deeper issues. Issues with people that aren't acquaintances, or they could be coworkers or something along those lines, right? People in your environment. You'll begin to have a lot of issues the more that you begin to close the gap between the self that you present and the authentic self within you, right? As the more you begin to become closer to that person, the more the universe, the more that God, the more that your higher self, whatever you want to call it, begins to align things for you and place you in an environment that suits your purpose, that suits your heart, right? And not your ego. So that's really what happens. That's why you won't fit in. And it's not simply because you're chosen, it's because you're choosing to be true to yourself, true to your purpose. There's no such thing as any chosen ones, right? At least not in my book. You're only chosen for the path that you're supposed to be walking on. And we're all doing this spiritual work on different levels for different lessons and many different things, right? So you are chosen for what you're supposed to do, but there's no chosen ones. This is your path and your purpose. And so the more that you begin to walk that path, the more that the life, the facade that you've been putting on, the life that this ego has been attaching to, the people that this ego has been attaching to, the environment this ego has been attaching to that doesn't serve your higher nature, the more that you begin to serve your higher nature, right, the more that all those things I just said dissipate. Because when you move into the higher nature, right, you move past the heart chakra into your higher nature, everything around your ego, surrounding your ego, it begins to serve your higher nature rather than you serving it, rather than you being a slave to your body, being a slave to your own mind, being a slave to your environment, and being a slave to your situations. You are beginning to become more in control, right? And God's placing you in a position where you are going to be in control. You're going to be following your spiritual purpose rather than worrying about other people's acceptance of you, right? And it's perfectly fine to have zero friends. I actually don't really have many people on my level that I can consider friends, right? My circle is extremely small. And actually, it's always been pretty small throughout my life, but as I became more in tune with my inner self, more in tune with my spirit, that circle gradually dwindled. And a lot of people that I thought would fit in to my circles, to fit into here, they just don't belong here. And a lot of times, sometimes, it could even be people that you don't have issues with that you'll have to let go of. Simply because of the fact that their charge is so neutral to you while you're transforming and you're growing, but their charge is so neutral that it's not necessarily doing anything for you to be around them. And that's not to say to completely isolate yourself either. That's not to say to completely ghost people either. You want to be respectful, you want to be loving towards others that show that to you, right? And you also want to be honest. Sometimes you want, because if you are honest, that might inspire them to transform and grow as well. See, that's what honesty does. Honesty brings light, and the more light that you're bringing to your being by being more authentic to your spirit, by being more authentic to your higher self and to God, right? The more light that you bring into your being, the more of a light that you can be for others, right? That's essentially what we're all doing here on different levels, to close the gap between ego and self, and to eliminate the lower nature through the process of alchemy, right? We're transforming into new things, and to do that, you have to let go. And sometimes when you do let go and you don't have any friends, that's when you begin to learn how to live with yourself. See, this is what the universe, this is what God, this is what your higher self is trying to tell you, that you don't need anything outside of you. You don't need the validation of anything outside of you. You don't need the authentication of anything outside of you. What's outside of you isn't going to bring you unconditional love. What's outside of you isn't going to bring you peace. What's outside of you isn't going to bring you enlightenment. What's outside of you isn't going to bring you closer to God, closer to your higher self, And so when you begin to lose everything around you, and you see that what's outside of you can't bring you wealth, can't bring you health, can't bring you happiness, right? When you begin to lose it all, right? Because sometimes for a lot of people, they might have to lose it all. They might have to hit rock bottom to understand this. But when you begin to lose it all, you lose the people, you lose the environment, you lose your safety, you lose your security, right? What it does is it gives you a harsh reality check that all of everything that you could have ever asked for is within. You generated within. It's all within you. And it starts with the heart, right? And it gives you a good look in the mirror. This is exactly what I was talking about in my shadow work video. Everything that we see outside is, and with this visible light, distracts us from the truth and the reality of the darkness within. The darkness within, it shows you the truth. You have to experience the darkness to really see the truth, to understand the light, right? You have to have a balance between the both, because darkness, it shows you the beginning, and light shows you the end. And when you begin to understand the beginning, you understand the root causes of what makes you who you are. You understand the root causes of what's going to bring you where you want to be. right? Then you can understand how to bring that all into light and how to transform yourself. And it's perfectly fine to leave it all behind. You know, this is all a journey in which we learn about ourselves and we transform and we bring light to others. We bring light to the world that we live in just by doing so. That's essentially what walking the path of being who we are, regardless of what other people tell us to be, regardless of whether it's popular or not, whether it's acceptable or not, but just being authentic to ourselves, right? Speaking our truth, being truthful to ourselves, truthful to our spiritual purpose, truthful to God and our higher selves, right? The more that we do that is the more that we find that in doing so, we find the inner peace and the happiness. You know, when you have zero friends, when you don't fit in, it's because you're beginning to see the illusion of security, the illusion of love, the illusion of acceptance that you had outside of you. Everything outside of you is an illusion if you don't understand what's inside of you, if you can't generate it inside of you, right? But when you do generate it inside of you, you do produce it from within, then what you experience outside of you with a new set of eyes, you know, and with more spiritual backing towards it, you know, the universe, your higher self, God, will place things into your life that truly do reflect that love that you have within for yourself, that truly do reflect the acceptance that you have within for yourself, because you'll have a deeper understanding, you'll have more discernment getting into new situations, getting into new environments, being around new people, networking with new people. You'll have a new discernment in dealing with these things because you'll have a sense of drive in who you're supposed to be, a sense of purpose in who you're supposed to be, a sense of belonging that you've produced for yourself. And you know that you only want to be around people that can reflect that towards you. So your discernment will be even more powerful when you begin to learn how to live with yourself and be alone by yourself. See, when you start losing friends, when you don't fit in, that's another thing. That could be a message from God, from your higher self, and from the universe, showing you that you have to take more time to be around yourself, to be around your own energy, because you might have been placing it to things outside of you. You might have been giving it all away to things outside of you, focusing too much on things outside of you rather than listening to the messages and the guidance within. The guidance within shows you exactly where to go, who to be around, what to do, and how to do it. It shows you through symbols, right? And so if the symbol that you're getting is no one, then the only person that you have to be around is you. And sometimes you do have to do that so you can reset, so you can learn how to really truly accept yourself instead of running away from yourself all the time, being afraid to face what's within, right? This is where the courage is developed, the courage to be around yourself, and this is where the love is developed, because a lot of us, we carry around self-hate, and we try to project our self-hate onto other people, project our failures onto other people and bring them down. But in reality, we're just running away from what we can't accept within ourselves and letting it go, right? See, that's what I mean by facing the darkness within. We got to face the darkness within. And once we do, then and only then can we truly bring out the light, and can we truly surround ourselves with things that reflect that same light back to us. And that just requires honesty and authenticity with ourselves, and also just the willingness to listen, the willingness to submit to the fact that we do know and we have everything within, but we've been pushing it away for so long for the allures of this world, the allures of this matrix, right? This matrix can't give you love, it can't give you peace, but the universe, your higher self, God can. It's all about the spiritual endeavors when it comes to our lives. It's all about that in life and in death. And the sooner that we recognize that, the sooner that we will really begin to understand deeper parts about ourselves that words can't explain, that videos can't explain, that books can never explain, but our hearts can. So that's the video for today. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like, a comment, and let me know your thoughts. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and turn notifications on so you can get notified when I post fire content like this. I hope this inspired you guys, and I wish you all luck on your journey. Peace.